face-to-face for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was quite nice.
It made me actually believe someone actually watched that video.
Yeah,
so.
we should actually do that again. Like, we should definitely try to organize, but maybe all around the country, not just. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? Welcome to another one of our live videos where we answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. So today we are going to be going over a lot of questions that you guys have sent us throughout the week, as well as the question that you have right now on the live chat.
And by the way, if you are meeting us just for the first time, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind BackpackerGuide.NZ, which, if you don't know what BackpackerGuide.NZ is, it's basically your Bible to traveling in New Zealand. There's thousands of articles on there, loads of information about traveling around the country, basically how to get around, where the awesome destinations to hit, and all the nitty-gritty stuff to make traveling in New Zealand seem so much more easier, which, to be fair, it pretty much is. But if you do have any additional questions to all the information that you've probably seen on Backpacker Guide, then this is the place to come every single Sunday morning at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, where we do a live Q&A session for you guys to come onto the live chat and ask us your questions. And just to give you an overview of what the times are around the world for this live Q&A session, it's on a Saturday at 4 p.m. EST in the US, or 12 p.m. PST in the US, or also on a Saturday in the UK and France around 9 and 10 p.m, and in India around 1:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, or like I say, at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, which that's basically what you need to Google to find out where it is, where you are. So throughout the week, we do gather questions through our various social media travel channels, where you guys give us your questions and we put them into our pool of questions so we can answer them throughout this live chat on a Sunday. So if you send us your questions on the comments of any of our YouTube videos, that's where you can give us some questions. Also on Facebook, if you send us a message at BackpackerGuide.NZ, or on Instagram, also at BackpackerGuide.NZ, you can send us a private message there, or on Twitter, you can give us a mention at BPK Guide. Otherwise, stick your questions in the live chat.
Yeah, in the comment of any of our YouTube videos, usually the easiest way to reach us.
Yeah.
All right, so saying hi to the Y2J in the live chat. So you're talking about the clock in the background. Yes, it has run out of battery quite a while ago.
You need to change that, Robin.
Oh,
come on,
damn.
get some new batteries.
I put it on my list. Too much to do. All right, let's just dive in right into it, because we've been doing all the housekeeping for way too long right here with all this information. Let's get started with the first question we received on YouTube. While we are answering this question, by the way, just make sure your question is on the live chat, so we get to answer yours. All right, cool. So the first question is on YouTube from MK78676. That's an interesting name. Please suggest what place I can visit in New Zealand to cover both islands in July with my family and kids. Can I cover everything in 15 days? I need to cover everything in 15 days. So 15 days apparently is the time. We are doing a road trip. Our trip starts and ends at Auckland. We prefer to fly back in return from Christchurch. Things we want to do includes Mount Paku, which I don't really know what that is. Glowworms, geysers, skywatch, skydive, volcanoes. It's got to be adventurous, but something suitable to go about kids in the weather you've mentioned in your previous July video. All right, New Zealand in 2 weeks. So first thing I want to point out is that we do have an itinerary already written on the BackpackerGuide.NZ with a 2 weeks itinerary around New Zealand, which is quite handy. You can go through the whole article and you can check out every places that we suggest you stay, every places that we suggest you stop at. And there's going to be a lot of information on the article, but we'll give you a quick overview with the map because, yes, the map is back.
Yes.
All right, so 2 weeks all around New Zealand. So obviously you're starting in Auckland.
Yep.
We're going to go to Coromandel, like High Beach, Waitomo, Rotorua, Taupo, Tongariro, Wellington, Picton, Abel Tasman, Punakaiki, Franz Joseph, Wanaka, Queenstown, Milford Sound, and you can put Christchurch, but we'll suggest actually not to fly from Christchurch. I think it's going to be easier for them to fly from Queenstown, but we'll see how it's going to work.
All right.
So here is what the map looks like. There is a lot of things to do in only 15 days. So first disclaimer, we think that 15 days is just a little too short to do both islands. And if we were to choose, we will focus on only one island. That would be our choice. So only you do the North Island or only you do the South Island. That would be our choice. But since your request was to do both islands, let's go over it. So you're going to start in Auckland, obviously, which is where about 95% of people land. And we suggest that the first place you visit is Coromandel, especially the little beach of Hahei, which is spelled Hahei. Everybody always asks me how to spell it. So this is a beautiful place. There is Cathedral Cove there, which is one of the filming locations from Narnia, the movie Narnia. It's a stunning location. Beach. It's kind of like out of this whole itinerary, it's going to be where you have the most like summery kind of beach, and you see this side of New Zealand as well, and that's why we like to start in there. Coromandel has really a lot to offer there, and even just the drive to get there is absolutely wonderful. And it's close to some really awesome things as well. If you are not really into visiting some really picturesque beach, you can go to a place called Karangaheke Gorges, where there is some old mining areas with a lot of really amazing hikes as well. So you're traveling with your family, definitely something super easy to do with family. And even if the weather is not that beautiful, it's not somewhere where you want to go just because it's a beach and it's beautiful weather. It is extremely picturesque. You get a cave literally all over the beach and an archway to walk under and everything like that. So it's absolutely stunning. Then we suggest you move on to Waitomo.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of really good family-friendly things to do in Waitomo. Obviously, you want to go there to see the glowworms. But in Waitomo, if you've got a family, good things to do are some of the walking tours there. They only last, I'd say, about an hour each. And there's the Ruakuri Cave, which is really awesome. You get to see some stunning limestone formations and, of course, glowworms. That's a great one to do with kids. It's not too strenuous or anything. Or another option is the Waitomo glowworm caves, and this is a different, takes you to a different cave to the Ruakuri caves, but again, amazing formations to see. And you end the tour going into a little boat, and you sort of just float underneath an amazing array of glowworms. So that's definitely an awesome thing that is going to make the kids just go wow. So yeah, that's Waitomo.
And the good thing with Waitomo as well is that even if you travel in July and it rains, a lot of the things to do are in caves, so they're not weather dependent at all. So you're sweet.
Yeah.
Moving on, you can make your way toward Rotorua. Now, going toward Rotorua, you can stop a little bit up, so you can do a little bit of detour and go to Matamata, where there is Hobbiton. You'll be able to check out this awesome Lord of the Ring location. It's a very fun tour to do with the kids, because even if they haven't seen the movie, it does look really kind of magical and everything, so the kids really love it. But in Rotorua, this is where you have most of the Maori culture and also all the geothermal park. So the reason why we love this place, especially in the winter, in July, is that even if it rains, it usually makes it look even better. So we love all the geothermal park when it's cold and then when it rains, because you get much more steam, because, well, steam is hot air going up, right? So the colder it gets, the more steam you get. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, and obviously they look as gorgeous, all the time. So you get some beautiful geothermal attractions, like some bright orange lakes, some pink lakes. You get bubbling mud. You get geysers. You get all those kind of things. The kids love that, like genuinely love that. And also all the Maori attractions. A lot of them are kind of village stays, like Mitai or a Tamaki village. And those are really cool to do. And same thing, they're not really too weather dependent, because you go through like villages. So, it's they're well prepared for the weather, and it's all about the good food. So those ones are really cool. And Rotorua has a lot of things to do. So if the weather is really, really terrible, there's still plenty of entertainment for the kids. Then you're moving on to Taupo.
Yeah, so there's lots of stuff to do in Taupo. For short things to do with the kids, there's the Craters of the Moon, which is another geothermal park, and that has a short walk around there to see some awesome steamy attractions. But there's also quite some really fun hot pool attraction parks as well. So with the kids, you can there's like Debrett's and the holiday park, the Taupo holiday park, which has like water slides, but it's all in a nice hot pools as well. So that's really awesome to do with the kids as well. There's also jet boating, which is like so much fun. I know that lots of kids go on that as well. It's not just for adults. And yeah, there's some awesome sailing cruises across the lake, which is New Zealand's largest lake. And on the sailing cruise, you make your way to the Maori carvings in a cliff, which is absolutely huge and an amazing photo opportunity. So that's just some of the things that you can do in Taupo.
Yeah.
And then after that, we suggest to go to the Tongariro National Park,
which is right here. So the Tongariro National Park, it is basically home to probably the most popular hike of the country. It's called the Tongariro Crossing. Now, depending on the age of your kids, they may not be able to do that. It's a little bit of a tough walk, but it's definitely adventurous. Now, as far as adventurous walk goes, it's one of the best maintained with a lot of people there. You can even go with guides and all those kind of things. Especially in winter, you kind of have to go with guides. It is really wonderful to do. And if you want to kind of push and try, something really adventurous, this is the one to do. You do it, especially with kids with guides, and they will tell you what you can do or not. But yeah, Tongariro Crossing is really cool to do. Otherwise, if not, you can either skip through and straight away go to Wellington, which gives you more time for the South Island, or you can do some other much shorter walk in the area as well. There is a walk to the Taranaki Falls, for example, which is it's a really nice. It's in the same area right here. It's a really nice walk. But yeah, otherwise, just drive through and get yourself to Wellington, which is New Zealand's capital.
Yeah, and the number one thing to do in Wellington, especially with kids, is to go to the Te Papa Museum. In fact, whatever age you are, this is such an awesome museum. You can spend hours in there seeing all the different exhibitions about basically the social history, the natural history of New Zealand. Basically anything to do with New Zealand is in this museum, and all the displays are super interactive. And yeah, it's just so much fun. So that's definitely a must do in Wellington. There's other things to do in Wellington, of course. There's kayaking on the bay. There's plenty of walks to do. You can go check out the Botanic Gardens, which is a really lovely outdoor area. With
Zealandia as well.
Zealandia, of course, yeah. So Zealandia is like a wildlife sanctuary with a predator-proof fence around it. So all the birds are free to come and go, but it's usually like a safe haven for native birds. So that's definitely a great place to see some real New Zealand wildlife. So that's just a few things to do in Wellington. Yeah,
so definitely Wellington is somewhere where you can just stop and kind of get your kids an understanding of what is and where is New Zealand, all those kind of questions that they may have, because when you travel with kids, it's really important to give them a bit of context. But that's also the place where you take the ferry. So you hop on the ferry, which is absolutely wonderful. It's basically the only way, especially when renting a car, to go from the North Island to the South Island. But it's an attraction in itself. It's really amazing. But yeah, so you hop on the ferry and you're going to cruise through the beautiful Marlborough Sounds, and you're going to arrive in the little town of Picton, which is where you're going to get off the ferry. That's literally where it lands. In there's a lot of things to do, some amazing boat trips. Like there's something called a mail cruise, which is really awesome. Around the sounds right here, there's a lot of little inlets and a lot of little sounds and a lot of places which can only be reached by boats. And there's a lot of people living there. There's a lot of resort and all those kind of things. So they need to get mail. And so there is a mail boat which is contracted by New Zealand Post that goes around all those little sounds and deliver mail. And you can, as part of the tour, join them doing that. It's really cool because it gives you such a great overview of the whole sound. And it's really wonderful. It's an amazing thing to do. So we definitely recommend doing that. Plus, if you're into your wines, Picton is really near Blenheim, which is the heart of the Marlborough region right here, and some of the best wine in the country. So if you want to treat yourself to some wine, yeah, that's a pretty good place. But then we want you to move on to Nelson and the beautiful Abel Tasman National Park. Well, it looks like a smiley face.
I did a smiley face up here too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so in Abel Tasman National Park, there's loads of different things you can do here. It's a beautiful coastal area with golden sand beaches, beautiful green forest, and it's famous for having one of New Zealand's great walks, which is the Abel Tasman Coastal Track. But that might be a little bit long to take kids onto, so there are some other sort of day options to do. There's sailing tours, there's kayaking tours, and there's there's sort of boat and walking combos. So you can take a boat out to do about an hour walk back to another bay, and then take a boat back to one of the nearby towns like Motueka or Kaiteri. So yeah, so there's lots of different options there, and we do have an article on BackpackerGuide.NZ listing the 10 awesome things to do in Able Tasman. So that's a good article to check out to see what would be your best option with the kids.
All right, so you can definitely spend 1 or 2 days around this area, especially if you do skip the Tongariro up there and really explore the area. I feel like in 15 days around New Zealand, you're going to want 1 or 2 days when you can actually just take a breather. But yeah, and you'll see that this is why we don't recommend you to actually fly from Christchurch. We want you to fly from Queenstown, just because we can save you 2 days from doing that, which would be really good. All right, so then after that, you are going to make your way toward Punakaiki. Yeah, so it has to go a bit that way because, well, there's no road right here. And around here, there's Nelson Lakes right here, which is an amazing pit stop with some beautiful lakes and mountain views that, it's definitely awesome to be able to stop there and take some pictures along the way while you make your way to Punakaiki. Now, Punakaiki, that's going to be a long drive, so you're going to arrive there around the, a very early evening, late afternoon. And you'll be able to check out the Pancake Rocks, which is basically some absolutely beautiful limestone formations, and some great blowholes as well, which is really awesome. So the kids are going to absolutely love that. The walk to get there is literally the easiest walk in the entire country. It's completely flat. It's even paved. That is how easy that walk is. So definitely worth doing. That's going to be a great hour spent over there, basically, and spending a good night of rest, because then you have a busy day in the glaciers.
Yeah, so next, the next glacier area you can go to is Franz Josef Glacier. This is definitely the most popular place in New Zealand to see the glaciers. And what most people like to do there is take a heli hike onto the glacier, but it kind of depends on how old your kids are. If you are traveling as a family, you do tend to need to be traveling with older children, like teenagers, to actually go and do the heli hike. Yeah. So alternatively, really awesome options to actually see the amazing landscape is to do scenic flights. There's loads of different helicopter and fixed wing flights that you can do. You can also do some short walks around the area. A really good one to do is the Glacier Valley hike to the Franz Josef Glacier terminal face, which at the moment the road is closed, but there are plans to open it hopefully by the time you go in July.
No, it's not going to be ready in July.
Do you not think?
No, it's not going to be ready in July. So you've got to do a heli hike if you want to do that. Otherwise, in Franz Josef, you also have bird park, the West Coast Wildlife Centre. There you go.
Yeah, so that's definitely, and this is actually also a really good one to do on a rainy day, because it does rain quite a lot in Franz Josef. But yeah, they have a little indoor wildlife centre where there's a kiwi hatchery, so they hatch kiwi chicks and then
so cute.
Yeah, and then release once the kiwis are at a fully grown and safe enough to go back into the wild, then they're released back into the wild. So it's part of like the kiwi conservation in the area, and it's a great opportunity to see a real kiwi bird in New Zealand, which obviously the kids are gonna be amazed at.
Yeah. So now if the weather's not good in Franz Josef, try your luck in Fox Glacier, which is nearby. So keep driving. It's about a 30-minute drive from there, and usually the weather is much better in Fox Glacier, so try this one as well. Anyway, hop back on the road and make your way through a beautiful pass, and you arrive in the town of Wanaka. Now, Wanaka is a place that you can skip, a bit like Tongariro. If you decide to skip it. But that's where you have that hashtag, that Wanaka tree. This tree coming out of the water. It makes for some amazing pictures. There's a lot of beautiful walk around the lake. You can kayak around the lake and do a lot of things like that. But if you do run out of time, you can head to Queenstown straight away. Because in Queenstown, we do want you to spend at least a couple of days, because we want you to head to Milford Sound. So I'll let Laura tell you a bit about Queenstown, then I'll tell you about Milford Sound.
Yeah. So in Queenstown, there really is a crazy amount of things to do there. The list almost feels endless, but I'll try and give you some right now, which would be good as a family to do. The number one thing in my mind, I think, for families is to go and try the luge, which is a downhill go-karting track at the top of the Skyline Gondola in Queenstown. And obviously, if your kids are older, they can do their own go-karts. But if you do have younger kids, they can just sit on your lap while you control the go-kart. And it is so much fun. Like, don't underestimate how fun this is, because once you like go down that track the first time, you want to keep on going again and again.
What's the slogan? It's
once is never enough.
Yeah, it's probably the most accurate slogan I've seen in the whole country. Like, it's just so crazy how you really want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's silly fun.
Yeah, and there's lots of other things to do in Queenstown. There's about 5 different jet boat tours. There's another wildlife park there where they do kiwi conservation, among other birds that you can see there, and that's located at the bottom of the Skyline Gondola. There's plenty of walks to do. There's what else is good with kids?
In Queenstown.
In Queenstown, yeah.
Ton of food. There's plenty of like food places, so you can stuff yourself.
Have lots of ice cream.
Yeah, but one of my favorite things to do in Queenstown is to actually hop on the bus and go to Milford Sound. Now it's an entire day tour, right? It's going to start at 7 in the morning and it's going to finish at 7 at night. They're going to take you through some of the most amazing places of the country and through beautiful Fjordan National Park. It's absolutely a must-do when in the area. And I feel like after driving that much, that's a lot of driving. You may want someone else to do the driving for you. So on top of it, that's going to help you really enjoy the sceneries much more. So that's definitely a one day. You need to do that, and you need to spend some time in Queenstown, and then you're back here. Now, with this itinerary, we really suggest you to fly from Queenstown to Auckland, from Queenstown. I know on your request, you said you wanted to fly from Christchurch, but we feel like it gives you much more of a chance to do much more things. But if you scrap, for example, Wanaka and you scrap Tongariro, it gives you an extra, let's say, day and a half to 2 days, and you can make your way toward Christchurch at that point. There is a lot of really nice, it's going to be a whole day drive, but there's a lot of nice places to stop at, like Lake Tekapo, for example. You can see Mount Cook from the road. You won't really have time to drive to see Mount Cook, but you have quite a few nice places to stop along the way, and you can finish in Christchurch. But that will be our take for a family trip of 15 days around the entirety of New Zealand, but you won't see everything. From Auckland, we are finishing and starting in Auckland, but giving you a car back somewhere down the South Island. Now, I hope that was useful to you. And again, we have that as an article on BackpackerGuide.NZ. I will put it in the description below to make sure that you have the link for you. And if you find that useful, like and subscribe. It really helps us a lot. All right. Let's get back to the live chat. So we had a bit of an attention seeker right now. That was saying a lot of nonsense, but glad he's gone. And if he's not, I'll just block him as soon as I can. Y2J actually was asking something a little bit.
He copied it as the last message.
Oh, cool.
Copied the same
sweet. Thanks for copying Y2J. So actually, can you give me the map? I actually want to answer that question with the map. It's going to be a bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay, what we found, so Y2J is basically asking, is there any roads in New Zealand which are lacking petrol station? Because he's about to do a motorbike trip on the North Island, and you want to make sure you can get petrol everywhere, which, makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what we have found is that this area right here of New Zealand is badly lacking petrol station. There is some places from like Taupo to go down to this coast right now, which literally have signed and say there is not going to be any petrol station for like 100 or 200 kilometers.
So definitely the road between Taupo and Napier, for instance, there's signs before you get onto that highway saying like there's no petrol stations for 100 and whatever kilometers. So if there is going to be no petrol stations for over 100 kilometers, it's going to have some signs to tell you that.
Yeah.
Another one that I know of is the Forgotten World Highway in Taranaki. That also is, I think, like 120 kilometers or something like that without petrol stations. So, but usually where those signs are before you hit the highway, there's usually a petrol station nearby to get that last minute fuel up before going. But otherwise,
there's a road south as well to go to, like around here. There's like not south, east. Which is pretty bad as well.
Is that Waiaweka Gorge, maybe? So Waiaweka Gorge, that's another route that goes inland between Gisborne and Opotiki. So that's sort of around this area. Again, that's quite a lot of kilometers without a petrol station. So I think the best thing to do is to just, before you head out for the day, just plan your route and see if there are any petrol stations, especially if you're going on one of the more scenic drives like the Forgotten World Highway or the Waiaweka Gorge. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's basically our take on that. Now, who else is there? Margarita Mama, aloha, shake hands.
Aloha.
And Brian is very honest. Brian says, I'm too lazy to look through your site. Haha. How do I get an IID number for work? Well, yes, you do need an IID number for working in New Zealand. It's basically the equivalent of a tax number in New Zealand. And to do that, you're actually going to need a bit of a bunch of paperwork. But the first thing you need to do is to get yourself a fully working bank account in New Zealand. That's what you need to do first. So once you've gone through this whole process and you got your working bank account in New Zealand, then you can apply for an IID number. Now, for most countries, you will actually need your tax number from back home. And I think we actually did already a video by how to get that, but you get your IID number from back home. And then here's the paperwork you need. Valid passport, proof of New Zealand bank account number, your tax number from home, proof of intended activity in New Zealand. So that's usually your working holiday visa saying you're going to work and holiday in New Zealand. So it's just basically a copy of your electronic visa. And you need access to the internet because you can do all of that online. And after that, honestly, it's pretty simple. You go on the IRD website, and then you can do everything online. Now, I know you say you're too lazy to look on the website, but here's what you can do. You still go on the website, and here, if you don't want to look through the website, you type IRD number, and you're going to pop into this article straight away, how to get your IRD number. And literally it just goes through like what you have to do. It's about a 10-minute process. It's really quick to do. There's nothing hard in doing that, Brian. And I think you're going to be, there's no laziness involved right here. I promise the article is really clear. So I know you don't want to look through the website, but I just told you how to find it. So it's pretty easy. Or even type on Google, how do I get an ID number for backpackers? And you'll find an article first there. So you'll be good. But first, a lot of people forget that. First, you need to do the bank account.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to another question. No, we don't have anything there. Okay, well, we go through one that you guys sent us. And that's probably one of the most interesting one we've had lately, which is, some more people. This might be a silly question, but... Sorry, Heshan says, silly question, but is it possible to go to Antarctica from New Zealand? I've been to the Antarctica Center in Christchurch and very much love to go there. If you join a scientific expedition, you can actually go, you can actually sail from Christchurch, but Air New Zealand actually does, I think it's like one flight a year where they send some people there. So there is ways to do that, but it's something like it's close to the 30 grand total.
Yeah, it's an expensive trip. There are cruises like that go not very regularly, but there are some tourist cruises that do go down to Antarctica. But again, it's a pretty special experience. Obviously, you're going to a very very remote part of the earth. So this is something you definitely will want to do a lot of research into
and save up
and save a lot of money and make sure it's also the right sort of trip for you. Because if you think it's chilly in New Zealand, then you're going to get quite a shock when you go to Antarctica.
Yeah, and Margarita Mama is asking, wondering if I will need to buy a plug adapter to bring with me, or if most places like hotel will have USB port for us to charge our phone.
Bring an adapter.
I think it's a resounding yes. You definitely need to get yourself an adapter, and they're really expensive in New Zealand, so you may want to bring it back home. If I remember, you're from Hawaii, so you've got Amazon, and you've got cheap stores, so you can actually definitely get yourself something better. And even more important, get yourself a travel adapter that has surge protection.
Yeah.
So you want a New Zealand travel adapter that has surge protection. Very important. So on top of it, you don't lose your phone or your appliances.
If you go into BackpackerGuide.NZ and in the search bar, just type travel adapter, you'll find some of our recommendations as well. And we've got some really cheap ones that we recommend, but also some ones that are a little bit better, but not too expensive. So take a look at that. And that's some really good suggestions. Well, what we personally think are good suggestions.
So for that article, we literally went on Amazon and we got some of the ones. So from the really cheap ones like those ones to the really complex one, and we try them and we tell you what we think of them. And we recommend them and we link to all of them. This one is really fun but really complex to use. So maybe like
that's the world's smallest travel.
Yeah, I know. I don't think.
But it's not practical, really.
Yeah,
so.
It is fun though, and that's the thing. If you really, really need space, that works well. Like this one's my favorite. To be honest, it's a tiny bit more pricey, but you can charge so many different things at the same time as well on it. So that's my personal favorite. So the number 2 is my personal favorite, and Laura is cheap as So she likes the number 1 because that's the cheapest. So yeah, so you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ and you type travel adapter on the search bar and you'll find all our recommendation and the link directly so you can buy them. But yes, definitely, you absolutely need one, Margarita Mama. There is no question about it. Even in like some of the best hotel, you don't have USBs.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So the question that I had, well, let's just take, okay, she says, thank you. Margarita Mama says, thank you. And yeah, you know what to buy when you read the article. Cool. Don't count on the hotels to have that. All right, cool. Let's go through oh, my throat. Let's go through the question from Yao. So we have Yao on Facebook that says, hi, I am from South Korea and I come to NZ soon. I study anthropology and I really want to see best Maori culture. Can you help me tell what is the best tools for this? This is the main purpose of my travel to NZ, so I will do many culture tours, so you can suggest many. Thank you from Korea. Well, you're welcome from New Zealand. And here you go. There is actually quite a lot of ways to experience the Maori cultures. And actually, one of the most popular articles on our website is the 10 best ways to the 10 best places to experience the Maori cultures in New Zealand. And so we'll give you kind of like the top like 6 or 7 and we'll tell you what we think of them. And that should help you get an understanding both from like the touristic kind of side as well as the cultural kind of side of the Maori culture. And I guess if you're studying anthropology, you probably come here to do a bit of research. So we also go through some of them which are really more personal, which is quite cool. All right. So the first place that you can go to experience Maori culture is Rotorua.
Yeah, so Rotorua is sort of known as the cultural hub of New Zealand. In terms of tourist attractions, many of the tourist attractions are surrounding the Maori culture. So you can go and do sort of night tours where you go into sort of mock-ups of traditional Maori villages. I'm thinking of Tamaki Maori village and Mitai Maori village, for instance. And it sort of begins with a traditional welcoming ceremony. So you can learn a little bit more about what that is and experience it for yourself. And then you go into, a mock-up Maori village and learn little snippets of the traditional parts of the Maori culture before going and seeing some more sort of cultural performances because sort of singing and dancing is a part of the Maori culture and it's known as kapa haka. So you get to see some kapa haka performances and then sort of end the evening with a hangi, which is a traditional style of food, which is cooked in an underground oven. So that's sort of what the normal sort of night tour in the Maori village in Rotorua consist of. Otherwise, there are day tour versions of this where you'll see a cultural performance at, say, Te Puia or the Waikewere thermal village where they do some.
So you see wait in the tour to get the right pronunciation.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see there's definitely loads of opportunities to see the sort of the singing and dancing side of the Maori culture as well. But yeah, loads of different opportunities in Rotorua.
And if you're not sure about what she just said right now, make sure you go to the article that I'm going to link in the description below so you actually are able to, see the whole word written and even like link to it straight away. But the second place where it's really awesome to experience the Maori culture is on the Bay of Islands. So that's north of Auckland. So it's basically kind of like the top of New Zealand. And in there is the Waitangi Treaty ground. So the Waitangi Treaty was the treaty which was made between the English crown and the Maoris that were living here when the English arrived here. Now there is obviously a lot of contention around there because, well, the Maori got the very short end of the stick, and this tells the whole story there. There is a really big museum that explains everything, show the different translations, show what happened, and all those kind of things. So it's absolutely a fascinating place to visit. And if you want to understand, I don't think it's just the Maori culture, but I think it's basically the influence of a foreign culture when encountering or trying to, create basically legal agreements with a different civilization. It's a very interesting place to visit. So we thought we'd put this one on the list because of your specific requests.
Yeah, another one I would definitely want to mention is Hokianga. or the Hokianga Harbour. And this is in the Northland region of New Zealand. And it's said in the Maori culture that this is where the first Maori explorer actually landed in New Zealand. So it is a very significant place to the Maori. And you can experience the culture on various different tours there. For example, there's a tour there called the Waipua Footprints, which takes you into a kauri forest, and kauri are the largest types of trees in New Zealand, where you get to see basically the largest tree in New Zealand, which is Tane Mahuta. It's a really awesome tour with lots of like cultural stories surrounding the area, and even if you go on any of the walks in the area, there's lots of interpretation panels to read where you can learn more about the history of the Maoris first arriving in New Zealand. So that's another really awesome place to go to.
All right, so the next one will be Wellington. So in Wellington, we talked about it all the time. There is the beautiful Te Papa Museum, which is the National Museum of New Zealand. Wellington being the capital of New Zealand, the National Museum of New Zealand is there. And there are multiple exhibitions showcasing the Polynesian roots of the Maori cultures as well as the Maori culture itself. There is really a lot to learn there, right in front of all those artifacts, the little interpretation kind of cards of each of the items are really like super insightful. This is basically, I think, the most we learned about the Maori culture, kind of fact-wise, ever. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. So yeah, so we've been to this museum multiple times, and we genuinely love it. So I think it's definitely worth going there. And that's one of them. Next, I think is in Waimarama.
Yeah, Waimarama. So this is a really small beach town in the Hawke's Bay region, maybe about an hour away from Napier. And this is definitely an off the beaten track place to go to learn about the Maori culture, but it's definitely worth it because over there is a really awesome tour called the Waimarama Maori Tours. And we actually did this one ourselves, which we'll link to the video in the description below. But basically, you just hang out with a Maori guy for the day, and he tells you like all about the history of his ancestors arriving in Waimarama, and takes you to a really awesome pa site. And a pa site is where a Maori village once stood. Usually it's on a hill somewhere, and there's evidence of terraces where they used to live, and it used to be like a fortified area. So there's really a lot of history to unpack on this tour. And then even at the end of the tour, because it is such a personal tour, they take you back, like the guy takes you back to his home, shows you all these amazing portraits of his ancestors and some really awesome like Maori artifacts that have been passed on through the family. So it's just a really it's a really authentic tour. So if you are looking for a real authentic Maori experience in New Zealand, then definitely head to Waimarama.
Yeah. All right, so those are kind of the eclectic ways to experience the Maori culture, but there's two other kind of ways to experience the culture, which is slightly bit different. So first up is greenstone carving. So you know that you guys probably know that carving is a massive part of the Maori culture, and the other one is tattooing. So for carving, Hokitika is an amazing place. So it's on the west coast of the South Island, where you can actually carve your own greenstone pendant, or you can see master carvers at work, and it's such a vibrant and living part of the Maori culture. We think it's definitely worth doing. And tattooing is also a very big part of the Maori culture. You're probably not going to want to get a tattoo for yourself, or you're really dedicated to your studies. But there is many tattoo shops all around. And same thing, if you check out the article below, we actually talk about a few places. And even there's a tattoo festival in New Zealand that runs every year. I can't remember when and when.
Taranaki area.
In Taranaki, yeah. So that may be worth it for you to time your visit with that. Anyway, so that was our take on basically some of the best places to experience the Maori culture in New Zealand. We obviously did miss quite a lot, but there is a lot on the article, which is in the description below. And if you find that useful, like and subscribe. That little like button right here, that does help us a lot. All right, so going back to live chat, there's a couple of things. So Magda 1988G says, where would be best to get accommodation for picking jobs in the Northern and how to find picking jobs, etc. Any recommendation, that would be great. head to Tauranga and check out to the Pacific Lodge Hostel or Harborside Backpackers. Those two hostels are really awesome. We really do love them, and they actually find a job for you. They are working hostels. So here you go. Head to Tauranga, stay in this hostel, and they place you for work. There's a couple of hostels in Opotiki that do the same thing, which is not too far from Tauranga. So here you go, easy as. We also have some videos about all that if you want to. So check those videos out.
Yeah. Also on Backpacker Guide, search working hostels, and that sort of explains how those accommodations basically help you find a fruit picking job.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a great one. There's Archie's Bunker in Napier as well, which is on the east coast of the North Islands. So yeah, there's plenty of them. It's really easy. So yeah, easy as you can snap your fingers and get a job.
Yep.
Okay, so I am sorry, I cannot pronounce your name, Iakaubostaknus. But Margarita Mama asks as well, and Y2J asks as well about the Wellington Sunday Market. Are they open all year round? So yes, the Harborside Sunday Market in Wellington is open all year round. The only difference is that in winter it closes at 1 p.m. while in summer it closes at 2 p.m. So you just get one extra shopping hour. But to be quite honest, you don't need that much time there. You probably need about 30 minutes maximum to go around everything. Yeah. And there is another Sunday Market on Victoria Street, if I'm correct, on Victoria Street, which sometimes we've seen it open, sometimes we've seen it closed. So this one is a little bit more, I am not 100% sure, because it doesn't seem that there is much of a pattern, but it's worth checking. But check out the Harborside Sunday Market. It is open, so it's Sunday right now. So technically they are working right now, and they are open until 2 p.m. today. So head down there. Yeah,
so that's located just...
Actually, maybe it's 1 p.m. I don't know if it's winter just yet in there.
It's probably clusters winter.
Yeah, it's probably winter. So it's open until 1 p.m. So run there.
But that's located just next to the Te Papa Museum, and we know this firsthand because we parked our camper van in the car park.
You should check out that video; it's really funny.
In the car park next to, basically in the car park where they hold the Sunday market, and then we went to go check out our camper van the next day and realized it was basically used as a prop for putting all the
literally put like crates of fruits around the car park. We couldn't move until the stuff was closed. That was so funny. Yes. I forgot about that.
If you check out our Wellington videos, that is in there somewhere. And that's pretty hilarious. So we definitely know that the Sunday market exists because we literally camped in the middle of it.
Yeah, that was really funny. Anyway, all right, no worries at all. And he or she is not upset anyway that I messed up their name, so that's good.
Oh, that's good.
So you're very welcome. Heshan is asking, is it possible to pick grapes like grapes like strawberry picking in New Zealand? Yes, we do grow strawberry in New Zealand as well. And yes, you can pick grapes as well. Grape picking regions and everything is more around Nelson and Marlborough, so more like down on the top of the South Islands. But yeah, definitely you can do that as well. And same thing, there is plenty of hostels that we just find jobs for you. So yeah, we go really in depth into that in another video that we already did. So you can check that on the channel. But otherwise, go on the website, and you'll have all the working hostels and all of that. We list them for you. We link to them. And so then you just, let's say you just book your nights, show up there and chat to them. They'll be really happy to put you to work. We know the owners of all those hostels. They have a really sharp stick and they're ready to book you to go to work.
So you just need to go onto BackpackerGuide.NZ and search fruit picking, and you will have loads of information about fruit picking in New Zealand.
Yeah, there's really a lot. So it looks like we're covering all aspects of it. It's like fruit picking and then going to the market to buy the fruit.
Yeah,
you know,
we're following the fruit journey right now.
You know, guys, if you work in the fruit picking, you can eat the fruit while you pick. No one's looking, so you'll be fine. You don't need to go to the market, right? Anyway, all right. Should we go on with another question?
Let's do it.
All right. So I have to say, this is probably one of the longest way to ask us a question ever, but I think it's quite entertaining. All right. So. Nefriteri Grace Espiritu Rico asked us on Facebook. Hi, Robin and Laura. I have spent some time watching your videos and they are all very useful and helpful. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you. We all thank each other. Me and my husband are from Australia and we are going to Queenstown from October 26th to 31st to spend our first year wedding anniversary this year. Congratulations. I'm just wondering if you could help us out with a 6-day itinerary from Queenstown to maybe Christchurch. so she's not sure. We are planning to rent a car to maximize the time. My husband has fear of height, but could tolerate high places when trekking or walking. So I guess that scraps out the heli rides and gondolas. We are more wanting sceneries, caves, and iconic places, and really just seeing the beauty of New Zealand. We are flying out to Australia from Queenstown too. Thank you so much in advance. All right, so it's an itinerary, basically 6 days around Queenstown or Christchurch and everything. Should we take the map out?
Yep.
Boom.
Okay, where are we heading?
I really like map. Queenstown, Milford Sound, Wanaka, Franz Joseph, Hokitika, Christchurch.
And yep, that's it.
All right, let's flip it. All right, cool. So you say you're flying out of Queenstown, but you asked us to go from Queenstown to Christchurch, which works well. You can fly from Christchurch to Queenstown, or you can just do one quick drive. Long drive, but
it's still a very long drive.
Yeah, but scenic drive, or just do a night drive or something. So you're gonna arrive in Queenstown, and if you mention that you're not really keen on, or your husband not really keen on hike, well, obviously we're gonna forget about the gondola and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But what we want is that we want to send you straight to Milford Sound. It is an absolute wonderful place, and the best thing is that you may not have to rent a car. You can actually just take the bus. So like that, you actually have plenty of time to enjoy the sceneries. So what we do is that if we were to arrive in Queenstown after flying from Australia, we'll literally do that like at first as our first day activity, just so you kind of settle and everything, and you don't have to just get started on driving all the way. So those buses will take you through some of the most beautiful sceneries of the country, the beautiful Fjorden National Park, and then you arrive in Milford Sound, you hop on a cruise, you do a bit of a cruise, and you check out this whole place, and then they drive you back. It's all included in a tour with all the food and everything, so you've got nothing to do. It's literally, you land in New Zealand, you treat yourself to probably what we think actually National Park, Fjorden National Park here, is some of the best sceneries in the country. So we think it's like you literally can land in New Zealand on day one, see the crown jewel of the country, which will be pretty epic. Once you've done that, then you can pick up your car, and you've already saved some money on car rental, which is quite good. And you head toward beautiful Wanaka, because oh yeah, I was like, you can't drive from here to there. And you head to beautiful Wanaka, which is really peaceful, really scenic, and I think it's perfect to, kind of do a second honeymoon.
Yeah. So in Wanaka, you can go and do some hiking. There's a couple of really good tracks. There's Roy's Peak, which is really popular. I would say I would kind of recommend it, but it is a little bit too busy. So I would instead go to I think it's called the Rob Roy's Glacier.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is definitely a really good place to go and get some of that beautiful New Zealand scenery. And it's just a beautiful mountainous sort of landscape. Otherwise, there's lots of walking trails around Lake Wanaka itself. You can also do kayaking tours, paddleboarding tours, go to Puzzling World, which is like a crazy illusion attraction park. There's all sorts of, there's wine tours there as well, if you're into that sort of thing. We will not suggest skydiving or anything like that if you're afraid of heights, but yeah.
That may be a way to end that wedding way too early.
Yeah.
If you say, honey, I planned a heli hike and a skydive.
Yeah.
Add a bungee to it. All right, cool. So then from Wanaka, you're going to head to Glacier Country. So now if you can't really do the heli hike, there is still some ways where you can actually hike to the glacier face. So at that point, we wouldn't recommend to go to Franz Joseph Glacier, but just you go to Fort Glacier, where the glacier face is very easy to access. And
They're not opening that road.
They're not opening.
That's the one not opening.
Oh God! Well, then you go there.
They're opening.
Okay, so go to Franz Joseph then. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's been a lot of really bad rain lately that has washed a lot of roads right here. It's pretty hard to keep track of what's open, what's closed. But in October, everything should be fixed, so that should be okay for you. But at the moment, we literally receive email every day like, this is closed, this is closed. Yeah. Anyway, so you go to Franz Joseph Glacier, and you can actually see the glacier face. But if you are, if you want to do the heli hike, you can. Otherwise, there's an amazing hot pools. And there is one of our favorite kayaking tours as well, which is really awesome. You go on, what's the name of the lake? Maporika Lake, which sounds really cool. Someone should do a rap about it. But so there's beautiful Lake Maporika where you can kayak on like a really placid lake. You get beautiful mountain views and everything. It's a fantastic fantastic area. And then we think you should head to Hokitika because that's very romantic.
Yeah, so after a beautiful drive along the west coast, you'll come to the little town of Hokitika, which brands itself as the cool little town of New Zealand. And there you can do greenstone carving, which is this beautiful jade stone, which is found in the rivers and along the beaches of the west coast. And it's really a significant part of the Maori culture. And you can go to a few jade carving studios where you can learn to basically carve one of these and make a pendant for yourself, which, you know, if it's on your honeymoon, you can make a carving for each other, which would be pretty romantic.
Yeah, we did that actually. We have a video of us doing that. So we designed ourselves like each other a pendant, and we carved it for each other, which was really cool. Yeah. It's their wedding anniversary now.
Oh, okay, wedding anniversary.
But there's also the sunsets, right?
Yep, so you can go, like, Hokitika is said to be one of the best places to see the sunset in New Zealand. So definitely check out what time sunset is, head to Hokitika Beach. And there's lots of driftwood art on the beach as well, which makes some really good photo opportunities. So that's another way to see some of that beautiful scenery of New Zealand. Another really awesome place that you can't miss in Hokitika is Hokitika Gorge, which is a really short walk to see the gorge, but it's a beautiful photo opportunity where you get to see this big dramatic river gorge with a big blue milky river going through it and beautiful forest as well. So definitely check out Hokitika Gorge.
And one of the good things that if your husband is actually really scared of heights, that you don't have to go on the swing bridge. You can literally, there is a path that just go literally on the side, and you can go at the bottom of the gorge and still see it and be like, wow, it's absolutely amazing. Or you have to go on the swing bridge. But it's really not that high, and it's really wonderful. So it's probably going to be more mesmerized by how beautiful it is rather than be scared by how high it is, which is really not that high. But yeah, Hokitika is what we think is actually one of the most romantic places in New Zealand. There's just so many things that just scream couple. So yeah, pretty cool. And then you drive through beautiful Arthur Pass, which is one of the best drive in the country. It's really stunning. You're going to see in October, you're not going to see snow-capped mountain, but you're going to see beautiful mountain ranges. You can stop at some beautiful waterfalls as well. So it's like one of the most scenic road trip you will ever do in your life, and you will find like a very different scenery than Milford Sound. So you'll be like, yeah, but you're here for the landscape, and that's definitely what you're going to really love. Or if you want, what you could do is that you could drop the car here and hop on the train called the Transalpine, where you literally see all those sceneries, but you don't have to drive, and you can eat some awesome food and all of that. So we have actually a video of that as well on the channel, because the Transalpine is one of the top 10 most scenic train rides in the world. But if you want to drive it, which is totally fine, you just drive it yourself, and it's about the same. They can't follow each other. It's just about the same scenery. And you ride back in Christchurch, where you can see some of the, it's the garden city, so some of the best gardens in the country. Something very romantic, very nice. And then you make your way to Queenstown. You're there with a very long drive or by flight, but you asked us to finish in Christchurch, so that's the itinerary that we will do if we had 6 days to explore, from Queenstown to Christchurch. So yeah, tell us what you think. If you do like that, like and subscribe. And we hope that it's really useful, and we hope that we help make your wedding anniversary somewhat exceptional. But I think a trip to New Zealand is kind of an exceptional way to celebrate. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, we are going to be putting a few links in the description below to help you out even more with some more information on each of the locations that we are discussing today.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the live chat. Where we any place? Oh, okay. Margaret Tamama asked if there is any place in Wellington to get a hangi meal.
I don't think there's any place to get a traditional hangi meal where they actually do put it in an underground oven, but there's definitely a few restaurants where they do hangi style meals. So there's a restaurant that I can think of is one on the waterfront in the Wellington city centre. There's a couple of restaurants on the waterfront, and one of them is a Maori themed restaurant. So you'll be able to find sort of hangi style, where they basically use the same ingredients they would use in a hangi. So it gives you a bit of a taste of what that meal would be like.
Just a quick insight: a hangi meal is actually cooked underground for many, many, many hours. So it's not necessarily a very restaurant-friendly kind of dish and something to serve. So you will have a bit more of a harder time to find that, as like, can I just order it and be done with it? It's something that has to be prepared, and it's kind of celebration mostly. So you've got to know that the hangi meal is going to be mostly in the Maori village visit. And then we also have Kishore Kumar that say, how much will a good winter jacket cost in New Zealand? But guess what? Laura bought one like literally 2 or 3 days ago, so she can tell you everything about that.
Yeah, well, I got a ski jacket, which is,
it's a good winter jacket.
It's a good winter jacket, and that cost around 200 New Zealand dollars. So I'd say that is what you can expect to pay. Otherwise you can get sort of down jackets, which are quite warm, from places like Torpedo 7 or Macpac or Kathmandu. And I think they're a little bit cheaper, but I'd say still over 150 New Zealand dollars. So I'd say, be prepared to pay between 150 to 200 New Zealand dollars for a good winter jacket.
And if you want one that looks really good in some of the bigger brands and everything, that goes up to like 600 or 700. Some jackets were shockingly expensive. I was in the shop and I was like praying she didn't get one of those. All right. We also have Haruka that asked us quick. Oh, thank you very much for saying your name. Obviously, it was a bit hard for me to read that. But so Haruka said, thank you for all the information. Your website and video is helping so much. We're very much happy to hear that. He'd like to know a recommendation for a nice day walking tracks around 6-7 hours return in New Zealand. Wow, there is thousands of those.
Lot, yeah.
So let's go with some that we really like. So the Tongariro crossing is probably the most popular hike in the country, and for a reason. It's absolutely stunning. Pick another one.
I'd go for Charming Creek which is on the South Island, just above Westport. It is a one-way track, so it's like 3 hours one way and then 3 hours back. But there's so much to see along the way. It's down a beautiful river gorge with old mining relics, an old railway line, waterfalls, beautiful forest, loads of different stuff to see. So definitely Charming Creek.
Yeah. What was this hike that we did in Taranaki that looked like a goblin forest? That was really awesome.
I think it was Enchanted Track.
The Enchanted Track in Taranaki. So around the Mount Taranaki, there is plenty of different tracks. So the Enchanted Track is not a long track like you just described, but there is a lot of different tracks along the way. So you can combine a lot of tracks to do a whole day hiking in such a. It's like full of trees which are like all twisted, and they look like they look like
they're out of a fairy tale.
Yeah, it really looks like like a witch kind of cursed the whole forest, and there's moss and twists and everything. It looks absolutely fantastic. So that's one I did really like. Another one that you like?
I would definitely do maybe just one day of one of the Great Walks. For instance, the Rootburn Track, which is in the South Island, just on your way to Milford Sound, you can access a part of the track called the Key Summit. You can do about a day walk of this, walking about 3 hours in and then 3 hours out again to make 6 hours. And you will get to see some amazing scenery without having to do the whole track and end up on the other side of a mountain and getting transport back to the start. Usually it is good to just do a day hike of some of the Great Walks to get a taste of what that Great Walk is like without all the inconvenience.
So Y2J is actually mentioning the Hooker Glacier Lake, which is from Mount Cook. It's about 4 to 6 hours return. Around the Mount Cook, I was about to mention some other walk on the Mount Cook area, but there's really a lot of amazing day walk around the Mount Cook area. Some of them that give you some height, so you can actually see everything from a little bit more a different perspective, which is quite amazing. And some of them that just brings you up close to some absolute giants, some giant mountains, some giant glaciers, some giant lakes, which is quite awesome as well. Also the Queen Charlotte track is more than you can do some boats and you can take it back. So you can do in the Marlborough Sound, there's a Queen Charlotte track where you can actually, so you have to take a boat to get there, then you hike, and then you can take a boat to come back, and that allows you to only do one day rather than usually you take the boat and you hike for how many days is it to get back down?
I think it's about 4 days.
So otherwise you take a boat and you walk for 4 days and you get yourself back to town. So yes, that could be a good idea to do that one as well. Anything else that comes to mind? I mean, there is really so many.
There's so many that it's like it's hard to pick one because it's like, God, where do you even start? I mean, another really good one, again, in the Tongariro National Park area is a hike called the Tama Lakes Walk, which is about 5 to 6 hours. And that gets you seeing a different side of Mount Nauruhoe, which is Mount Doom in the Lord of the Rings. So On the Tongariro crossing, there's the really popular walk, which is sort of on one side of the mountain, then the Tama Lakes walk, which is on the other side of the mountain, and that really does have incredible views there as well. So, and it's much less quieter than the Tongariro crossing. So I definitely love the Tama Lakes walk.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a good one to do for a long hike.
Definitely. But anyway, if you check on the website, we literally talk about walk every single time. Every time we do a guide of a regions or anything like that, if you go to all, basically, what we would recommend, if you want to do a multi-day walk, is that you know where you're going to be, and then you go on our website and you kind of look at what we say about all those regions, and we always recommend at least 10 or 15 hikes everywhere. So you see which one you think is the best, and head down the track. It's usually well signposted and it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, we can keep going for hours doing hikes, so I think we should stop now.
Yeah.
All right, Margarita Mama says that she understands that the hangi is like the imu in Hawaii, where they cook the pig at the ground. Yes, and there is some other South Pacific island that call that umu, I think, as well.
Yes,
so, yeah.
Or lovo if
Lovo,
you're in Fiji.
if you're so it's a very definitely a very Polynesian kind of things to do, and you can find that on the whole Polynesian belt. So yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Yeah.
All right, and Haruka is saying thank you and plenty of heart. I think the hearts are for you. You're welcome, Haruka. I know there's lots anyway. I'll definitely go to every places you told me. Don't do all of them. You're gonna be exhausted, man. Don't do it.
And Why in the World says, please put batteries in your clock.
Yes, fine. The
Direct that, Robin.
Come on, guys.
I can't even reach the clock.
Yes, I'll try to remember to do that. I'll put it on my list of the week. Anyway, that was awesome hanging out with you guys. Thank you very much for joining us for an awesome hour. Just picking our brains and just see where you guys are at in planning your trip. Haruka, have an awesome trip in New Zealand. Just tell us when you're going, or just kind of send us some pictures if you're hiking. We're easy to find on Facebook. Margarita Mama, hopefully you get yourself to New Zealand fast enough to get some hangi because it's in the ground right now. It's cooking. And shopping for manikahone, if I remember correctly. Y2J still enjoying his time in Christchurch, probably heading to the North Island for a motorbike tour. Magda, what did Magda ask about? I can't remember. But Magda is coming to New Zealand soon as well. Kishore is going to keep warm with the nice jackets, and everybody. And Heshan and other people who are going to be working in fruit picking, so we get to buy them at the Wellington market, which is awesome. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. It was awesome to hang out with you guys. We wish you
a wonderful week.
Yeah, an awesome week, and we see you next week at the time that we are going to be showing up. After we will publish the video or something like that. So yes, that's the time we are showing up. It's easier to show it than actually saying them. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.